Hey everyone, welcome to Crystal's Literary Lounge. I'm Crystal, and today I wanted to do my October wrap up. I did read a few more books in week 3 and week 4 of October, so I just kind of wanted to go over some of the statistics for the 13 books that I read. I had one DNF and then 13 books that I completely finished. And so then I wanted to talk about three of them that I haven't mentioned in my previous videos. I will leave previous videos for October down below because I had a lot of great reads this month. I had 6 5-star reads, and those were Belladonna, House of Salt and Sorrows, House of Hunger, Throne of the Fallen, Dead Romantics, which is one I'm going to talk about soon, Assistant to the Villain, and A Curse for True Love. So the Dead Romantics is by Ashley Poston, and it's labeled as a romantic comedy, and while there is some comedy in there, it's just a great literary book. It's beautifully written. We have Florence, who is a ghostwriter for this famous author, and she herself has written a book and it's been published. It didn't do so well, and so that sort of like knocked her self-confidence. But all of her books published under this famous name has gotten notoriety and recognition for that author. And so she knows that she can write romance. She knows that she is a good author because everyone loves it. But for some reason, there's this disconnect that happens because she's down to writing her last book that she needs to finish for this deal. And a year previously, her boyfriend breaks up with her and he betrays her in such a way that it's devastating and just completely wrecks her inside. And she can no longer finish her story that she's writing because she no longer believes in romance. Now she has, a year after that breakup, a new editor, and he says, you have this deadline, we're not giving you any more extensions, you have to turn in this book. And she's like, I don't believe in love. Can't I write something else where it's not a happily ever after? And he's kind of taken back because he believes in happily ever afters and he loves romance. And he just cannot believe that she doesn't believe in that anymore. She leaves his office. She gets a devastating phone call that there's been a tragedy back home. And so she has to go back home to handle this tragedy and be with her family. Unexpectedly, after she gets home, because she can see ghosts, just like her father is able to see ghosts, her editor's there. And she knows that he is a ghost. And so it's the two of them not just falling in love, but helping each other through grief and tragedy and walking through this like week of just being in a daze and trying to continue on with life, not just continuing on with the story whenever tragedy has struck. It was so beautifully written, and I cannot wait to read The 7-Year Slip next year, which is also by this author, because I've really loved this work. I also finally finished Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. It was such a cute read. If you have seen the movie, it's basically just like the book. It's funny. We have Elizabeth and her sisters. They have been trained by their father to be zombie hunters, or it's called the Unmentionables in the book and in the movie. And they are trained, and it's still Elizabeth and Darcy's, romance of them falling for each other. But on top of that, you've got zombies, and zombies just make everything better, in my opinion. So I recommend that book if you have not read it yet. And then I also read Bewitched by Laura Thalassa. I'm so sorry. I know I'm butchering that last name. So we have Celine is a witch, and she has very strong magic. But the price for her magic is that every time she uses it, she loses a memory. And so she has to keep notes and keeps writing everything down. She keeps journals upon journals upon journals, and she has sticky notes like all over the place. And she wants to go to this like magical college, which is a coven basically, to learn how to use her powers more. They say, okay, you need to go on a magical quest, and then you also need to have a familiar. If you can do those two things, then we will accept you into this college. So she's like, okay, I'm going to go to South America. I'm going to do this quest. Well, things go awry when her plane crashes. She helps save the people on the plane, but she accidentally unleashes this like ancient evil sorcerer who believes that she is his destined mate, and he follows her back to her coven, which also in South America she ends up getting her familiar that she needed to get. But it's basically all of the hijinks that happens, him kind of ruining her life. She's like, I don't know who you are, we are not mates, I've never met you before, and him just integrating himself into her life and not walking away. It was a great read. I gave it 4 stars, which I'll talk about my 4-star reads in a moment, but this was definitely 4 stars, and it's book 1 in a series, so can't wait to read book 2, which will I think be out soon. My other 4-star reads besides Bewitched was Dark Memory by Christine Feehan and Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I'm reading that for a video I'm going to do later on. I think it'll be up in January. And then I had 2 3-star reads, which was Pride, Prejudice, and Zombie. It's a 3-star read. Wasn't quite 4. I did enjoy it, but I enjoyed some other books more. And then Darling by Kate Ingram. It was a good read. I'll talk more about that. It's going to go along with the video that I'm going to do for Hook. And then I had A Ruin of Roses. That was a 2-star read for me. I had high hopes for it. It's Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's for a future video as well. But I don't know, it just didn't... Lots of spicy time, but it just wasn't my favorite out of all of the books. And then, of course, my one DNF was My Roommate is a Vampire. That's really a soft DNF. I hope eventually to come back to it. I think maybe I was just not in the right headspace whenever I read it. So hopefully I'll go back to it. But at first, when I was reading it, it just wasn't hitting. I just wasn't finding it as funny. But I know that some people have read it and they've absolutely loved it. So that is all of my reads for October. That is my wrap up. And I can't wait to read more books in November. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.